Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Jay and welcome to The Ship Life. So for today's cruise news, the CDC has dropped its cruise travel advisory when it comes to COVID. We'll go over the details in today's video because this is a big moment for cruising. A cruise line is adding solo cabins on board all of their ships. However, as amazing as this sounds, for the average Joe, booking with them still might break the bank. Also, we have another update for the P&O Ferry saga. The government over in the UK has not only asked the company to rehire all 800 of the fired workers, but they are also asking ports over in the UK to block the ferries. This situation is definitely heating up. Let's go. So today is a really big day for the cruising industry, well, at least in the United States. For 2 long years, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, has had a giant grip hold on the cruise ship industry. I mean, they've been leading the way as far as what the cruising operation should do in a very gentle manner. And by the way, before we get into today's video, I do want to let all of you know that yesterday I was invited to the Margaritaville Resort, all in anticipation for the inaugural sailing of the Margaritaville's first cruise ship, Margaritaville at Sea, which I'll be on April 30th. You guys want to check out that video? It's on my brand new channel, JTHENOMAD. I'll leave a link in the description box below, and I will also pin it in the comment section. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on with the CDC. So yesterday, on March 30th, the CDC came out and announced that they will be lifting their warning and travel advisory for cruising operations. Now, just understand that over the past 2 years, there's a lot of things that have happened. We've had the no sail order, we've had the CSO, the conditional sailing order, test cruises, the technical guidance, level 4 warnings as early as December of last year, where cruise lines couldn't really sail and do what they wanted to do without CDC intervention. The CDC would come in and say, well, if you as a passenger want to cruise, you probably shouldn't, whether you are vaccinated or not. Again, this is all at the beginning of the year. So from where we are from that point at the beginning of 2022, just 3-4 months later now, we've definitely seen a lot of changes. And honestly, I do think this is a very good thing. Now, just looking at everything from an objective perspective, yes, the CDC is still going to be the watchful eye of the cruising operations. They are still recommending that everybody, of course, still follow their guidance. They recommend that everybody get vaccinated. And of course, there is still that program, the COVID program that the cruise lines have already opted in, which we'll talk about in a minute. They're saying that, of course, if you're going to cruise, whether you are vaccinated or not, you should still look at the COVID case levels that are available on the CDC official website. Now, once again, the CDC has made it very clear that even though they are lifting the risk advisory for cruising, it doesn't mean that there isn't at least some small or a minimal risk to catching COVID on board cruise ships. But the reality is, as we all know, you can get COVID virtually anywhere in the world at any point in time. So they're saying you should do your own due diligence and use your own risk assessments depending on your personal health and your personal decision of whether you want to cruise or not. Now, we do have, when it comes to the industry, CLIA, which is the Cruise Line International Association. They are in some way the governing body for cruising operations around the world, and let's be honest, somewhat of a lobbying organization for cruising too, whenever they want to kind of push the envelope and they want to get things done, which I appreciate. I have a lot of friends that are members of CLIA. But anyway, one thing that a lot of people are probably going to be asking, because there are going to be so many unanswered questions as of right now when it comes to cruising. Do cruise lines now either have to opt out of that CDC COVID program, or is it just going to be eliminated altogether, meaning the cruise lines can essentially do what they want as far as how many people they want on ships? What about the vax requirements to get on board? Is all of that going to change now, potentially down the road? Now, me personally, I don't see that changing anytime in the near future, because we've had spikes of COVID. We all know what's going on with the Ruby Princess. They are believed to have at least 70 cases. There are other ships that are having 60, 70 cases as well, which I'll talk about in another day, because the reports are still getting finalized. And then you got over in Europe, there are spikes up and down as well. So I don't think all that's getting rid of anytime soon. But that's one thing that a lot of people are asking about. What's going on with the vax requirements? What's going on with the testing in order to be able to sail? Because I know that's nerve-wracking for a lot of people. Last thing you want to do is when you arrive to a port, let's say you fly in for another city or another country, you're probably wondering if you're going to test positive, even though you feel fine, and potentially ruin your entire vacation. But either way, guys, that's all we got on that topic. Like I said, very big day, very good things coming, especially in time for everything that's going on over here in Fort Lauderdale. Right now, we have Cruise 360. It's a giant cruise conference. I'm going to the first day today, and I'm very excited. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below. Now, before we move on, I'm sure all of you are probably curious. I have to address the computers in the room. So as you guys see, I'm not at my home over in Tampa Bay, Florida. I'm staying with a good friend of mine, Billy from Cruise Habit. Very knowledgeable man. And I got to tell you right now, when it comes to this stuff right here behind me, I am the most technological illiterate person you'll ever meet. I have no idea what any of this does, aside from maybe the microphone back here. So don't ask me to use any of this stuff. But either way, it's a big help that he's actually let me stay over here. We're catching up. He's educating me on some cruise stuff. He's been basically a pure blood cruiser his whole life with Cunard and a bunch of other lines. His dad was a cruiser as well. So I'm just over here gaining some knowledge. But anyway, guys, in another update, we got to talk about Oceania Cruises. Now, Oceania is part of NCL. There's NCL, the whole family, right? NCL, you have Oceania, and you also have Regent Seven Seas. Now, Oceania and Regent are more of the luxury lines when it comes to the NCL family. Oceania has announced that they are going to put 14 single or solo cabins on board all of their ships between now, it's going to start in September, starting with the Oceania Regatta on September 25th. September 26th, they're going to have the Nautica that has 14 cabins. And then October 1st, they are going to have the Insignia that's also going to have 14 cabins for a total eventually of 56 solo cabins for the Oceania line. Now, this is great, and I would insist and I would hope that more cruise lines start to take a page out of Oceania's book because, I mean, somebody like me, I don't always cruise with people. We all know that the business model overall for cruising is to have a bare minimum double occupancy for cruisings whenever you book. Most cruise lines, with the exception of maybe like NCL, who else has one? Royal every now and then, Virgin has one, but most cruise lines don't have solo options. This is something I've always been advocating for. I believe that more cruise lines should have this option, whether it's, I guess, viable to their overall business model or not, because you got a lot of people that, well, are willing to spend money. They just want to be able to do it by themselves. Either way, guys, that's the update for Oceania. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, finally, we have yet another update when it comes to the P&O Ferry saga, as things are definitely starting to heat up. And unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be an end to this in sight. Now, just to give you guys a brief overview and also to make the clarification, because I know a lot of people out there are still confused on what's going on. I've seen all the comments. There is P&O Ferries that's owned by a company located in Dubai. And then there's P&O Cruises, which is not part of this entire situation. They are owned by the largest cruising company on planet Earth, the CARNIVAL Corporation. Now, just to give you guys a very brief backstory, earlier this month here in March, we had a pre-recorded Zoom call in which 800 employees of P&O Ferries were fired out of nowhere, and it caused a bunch of pandemonium. You had one ship, the Pride of Hall, in which the captain and the crew barricaded themselves inside the ship. We've had strikes, protests, and all these other things that are going on. Now, we've also recently had this week 2 ships that were detained. We had the Pride of Kent, and we also had the European Causeway. Now, there is an agency over in the UK known as the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency. They were the ones that detained the ship, as they said they are unfit to sail. You had a bunch of crew members that are now new that are working on board these ships that, well, maybe are not properly trained, and it's only been a couple weeks. So the government over in the UK has also deemed it, well, these ships are not exactly safe. Should something happen like an emergency, how are the crew going to adapt and help all the passengers out should an emergency actually happen? Which is a valid argument. Now, in today's update, we have the UK government that is now stepping in. They have asked for the company P&O Ferries to rehire all of the 800 workers that got laid off or fired, however you want to look at it. However, they've rejected the request. They are not letting these crew members come back over to P&O Ferries, which, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think is very sad to hear. At the end of the day, you have a lot of crew members that were working for this company for 2 to 3 decades before they got fired. Now, even though, of course, P&O Ferries, they are handing out severance packages, and they're giving all the crew members a decent amount of money to survive until they can find another job. Again, very horrific situation. Now, you also have a situation where the UK government is saying that P&O Ferries is at this point in time breaking labor laws in which they are paying through this agency the new crew members as low as £5 per hour, which is below the national average of what people are going to be paying. It's not even minimum wage over in the UK. Now, I will admit at this point, all of this has been a giant train wreck or mess, a shipwreck, however you want to look at it. I just believe that when it comes to this whole ordeal, obviously P&O Ferries is in the wrong, even though I also believe in like business and some things have to be done, and business can be very cutthroat. It is what it is at the end of the day, but that doesn't make it right. Either way, of course, guys, we're going to leave it right here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I did have to kind of rush this video somewhat. I apologize. I got to go over to Cruise 360 Cruise Conference. Again, guys, I have a brand new channel called JTHENOMAD. I just uploaded a video for Margaritaville the resort over here in Hollywood. Make sure you guys check that out. And then I'll be on Margaritaville at Sea's inaugural sailing next month. And I think I'm doing like some type of pre-cruise event as well the day prior. But I have a lot of cool things coming up on that channel. Like I said, the link will be in the description box below and pinned in the comment in case you guys want to check it out. Hit that like button on your way out. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all later. Take care, guys.